Well, just based on the way you were describing the previous version, I feel like, I can't just get you like a traditional seltzer. That's not going to get us anywhere. I feel like what I need to do is get you one of a beverage that I know you already enjoy.
You don't seem like a big seltzer guy, Cody.
I drink a seltzer. I don't care. I don't know that it's the first thing I go to all the time, Bink, but I'm certainly not anti it, if that makes sense.
Well, you've always liked beer.
Yeah, I do like beer. I continue to do so.
Craft beer.
That's not the key to today's show. It is Cody Tapp, Jay Binkley, Nick Short with you as Alex is taking the day off, technically. JJ Piccolo coming on the show here at 10:30. We'll talk some Royals baseball with him and a little bit about their near-perfect game yesterday here shortly. But the continued talk, Bink, over the weekend was DeAndre Hopkins. Not just because on Friday's show, where we spent a large majority of time talking about the fact that he was cut by the Cardinals and why that would logically interest Kansas City Chiefs fans in general, but for the same reasons now that exist, which is he sounds like he's a front runner to land here, or Buffalo and a couple of other spots that are at least plausible. But Kansas City is definitively, based on every report this weekend, in the mix. Deadspin said that both Buffalo and Kansas City had some substantive talks with Arizona about a trade during the draft. Sports Illustrated had said that they got really close, but then the money that Odell Beckham got threw off a portion of this deal. And what this tells us is very simple for me. The Chiefs will, if they have to, go into the season with this wide receiver group, but they don't want to. They want to be better, Bink. They have tried to sign Juju Smith-Schuster. They have tried to bring back Tyreek before. They have been interested in DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, they can win a Super Bowl with the wide receiver group as it's currently constructed, but I'm just telling you that every single action over the last 3 years indicates that they want better wide receivers.
No, they do. It's an experience at the wideout that they're coveting. Just a couple years ago, remember when they tried so hard to Juju, you brought up him, where Andy Reid got involved with the recruitment of one Juju, sending him pictures, which you don't normally see Andy Reid that involved in something like the recruitment of a player to Kansas City. That and edge rusher. But you knew a couple years ago that was the one piece they thought they needed. They want experience at wide receiver. I know that they're fine with what they got right now to dance with the group that they have. But training camp yields different results at some point. That's why Donovan Smith ended up here at tackle. Now, that became at a bargain price, bringing him in at tackle, but that just says, all right,
yeah, that was cheap.
Kansas City wanted experience on that offensive line, so that's the direction that they went. So why wouldn't wide receiver be the same thing? Do I think the Chiefs were interested in Odell, in DeAndre, this whole offseason? 100% so.
Yeah, and if their name keeps coming up, then they're showing interest in wide receiver. They can say publicly, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, they can keep talking about how much they love Kadarius Toney, and they probably do, based on anything we've heard. I think that the simple reality is they think Kadarius Toney is incredibly talented and is picking up the offensive system super quick. So they feel confident that they'll find a way to make him a star in this offense. But you can say that and also know that hinging your entire wide receiver future on a guy whose career year in 2 seasons is 420 yards seems risky, and can't stay healthy in the early portion of his career seems risky. I don't know that I would go into a season that way. Would you? No. Do you still want Hopkins, by the way? Let's say prices be damned. Because
if the price be damned, yes.
Because I'll tell you that they'll make the money work. Like, I know they don't have the cap room now, but I don't know. The cap.
That's a lot of work to do, though.
It's work. The cap. I mean, you have to probably start by what? Signing Chris Jones? I would solve it pretty much for this year.
A lot of work to do to get on the cap, because it does exist, the salary cap, and the Chiefs are up against as one of the teams in the NFL that need cap the most. But do I think they need him? Yeah. Do I think they want him? Yeah. Have they saying the right things? Yes. Like, building up Kadarius Toney is the right thing to play. I mean, it's a chess game. And that's 100% the right thing to say. Hey, we think this guy could be our number one. Okay.
You should say that, because then you're trying to tell other teams, we're not that desperate, DeAndre. We'd love you here, but we're not going to just bend over backwards to get you here in Kansas City.
You don't want to play your cards. Is 100% right. The Chiefs seem happy with Kadarius Toney. They're happy with their wide receiver group now. So they're saying the right things. They're saying the complete right things that you want to say. But would it help them out? Absolutely.
Well, but of course it will. Like, to me, this is like the difference, and I don't know if anyone else feels this strongly. Nick, you might be the only other one, but the difference between Chiefs without DeAndre Hopkins this year to Chiefs with him is Chiefs without DeAndre Hopkins. Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion, best team in the NFL, will be in the AFC title game, will compete for a Super Bowl. Chiefs with DeAndre Hopkins are winning the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like there's no like real gray area, because that's the only tangible on paper weakness of this team unless some injury crops up. There is no other standard weakness for this group. It is they're good at linebacker, they're good at safety, they're great on the offensive line, they're great at tight end, they're great at quarterback, they're good at corner. The only thing in which you could say they are not top 15, like if you were just being conservative, is wide receiver. Because a lot of those other positions, I would say they're top 10, they're top 1 at tight end, they're top 1 at quarterback, they're top 5 at offensive line. Look, maybe they're top 20 at running back, a position we largely don't care about. Maybe it's 15th, depending on Pacheco. But corners, they're about as deep as anybody. Safety's a good unit. It's probably top 15. Like, it's hard. It's hard when you see just one weakness. And it's not the end of the world weak, but it is one weakness, and we all know what it is. That's, of course, why they keep coming up with Hopkins.
I think you can make the case that the Chiefs, on paper, have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. There is less proven talent in that room than there is in any other receiver room of the other 31 teams in the league.
I think we'd have a hard time finding a league, or a team whose leading wide receiver going into the year, best season ever, is 690 yards. That is the best season put on paper by any wide receiver the Chiefs have on their entire roster. 690 yards by MVS.
It's tough. I don't know. You have to look 20, 30, 40 years to find a team that led the NFL in passing. The only team over 300 yards a game passing, it did not have one wide receiver over 1,000 yards. Now, you had a tight end, obviously, Travis Kelce, but try to find another team that at least didn't have a wide receiver over 1,000 yards. They make it work. They make it work. Where it almost showed its ugly head was that Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
Remember where Kelce was maybe kind of questionable and iffy?
Yeah, we were all terrified of what that might look like.
And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the game, with Tony going out and Juju going out, you were down to Noah Gray running the wide receiver routes, Jody Fortson going back and running the wide receiver routes. That's what they had. And, yeah, they made it work, but it puts a lot of pressure on Mahomes. And my whole thing was, during our whole draft coverage that we had, is, hey, make Mahomes' life easier. Like, that's your number one commodity. That's your number one thing is the offense with this team. Yeah, I know that we've seen the defense improve, and that's great. And that's where they spent, 7 out of 10 picks 2 years ago in the draft. So they spent 5 out of the 7 picks this year. Only that Friday night when they go offense in the second and third round. The one weapon for Mahomes. Yes, you got Wanye, so you get help from Mahomes there on the offensive line.
And Yang, you've got, for this draft,
for Mahomes. That's why, you look at Sky Moore and Rashee Rice. When you look at them within this lineup in the wide receivers, they were with Mahomes the whole time. So you got to think, all right, who's drafted with Mahomes? Who's been with Mahomes every step of the way? Kadarius wasn't with Mahomes. Now he's acclimated himself going down to Camp Pat and doing all those things. But what wide receivers have gone the whole way with Mahomes? Meaning the minute they're drafted, everything that they know is working with Patrick Mahomes. And that's Sky Moore and Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Can DeAndre be that guy? Well, yeah, Mahomes can make anybody work with this offense, but I think having some experience at the wideout, because this is what the league is. It's a passing league.
I'm still concerned about Sky Moore's ability to pick this offense up. He better take a leap. Athletically is not my concern. My concern is, can Sky Moore do what he's supposed to do in a complicated offense? Because normally players in this offense who don't get opportunity in year one are the guys who don't know it. And look, Nick, I think you've pointed out he's coming from a tiny school, so I'm sure that that's a reason why it was hard for him to pick up. You got a whole offseason, a lot of excuses in year two, because that was the whole thing. I remember, even the scouting report on Willie Gay was the reason why he went a little bit further down in the draft is people were afraid of him because they were like, COVID's going to kill him. He's got to be in it to know it. And if he doesn't know it, it's going to take him a while, which is why there's still growth in Willie Gay's game. You're now in year 4. There's a chance Willie Gay gets better. There just is. There's a chance Willie Gay gets better because
it was a bad down year for linebacker. He was the best coverage linebacker coming out. I mean, they went out and identified.
Doesn't feel that way now, does it?
He was the best coverage linebacker coming out in the draft when Willie Gay came out. But look how far he slid. Because there wasn't a premium on that position in the NFL draft.
There is. Yeah, it's just a matter of whether or not, and I think they're serious about it. I think it's really just down to financials. And I still think that they need DeAndre Hopkins to take some sort of pay cut.
But the longer this goes on, the more and more, I think DeAndre just wants the cash. I know Florio's out there and other people saying that he just wants this big contract. Well, he probably does. At his age right now, it's about showing me the money.
I know. He's made a lot of money, though. Doesn't he want to win? He's going to go in the Hall of Fame either way. Wouldn't he like one big shiny ring just to cap that bad boy off?
What the Chiefs have to bank on is the Mahomes effect. You come in here, you play with Mahomes, he's going to make your numbers shine. And not only that, you have a chance for a ring every single year with Patrick Mahomes. And they're banking on that. They're banking on the fact, okay, look, we've got Andy Reid as head coach. You got Patrick Mahomes as quarterback. You got Travis Kelce at tight end for you. What else do you need? What else do you need to be successful? He wants the bank. He wants the money. The longer and longer this goes, DeAndre wants that cash. And he got a nice gift with the Cardinals saying, we'll swallow the $22 million or $26 million that is this year because we're going to tank this year anyway. And he got a nice little gift, a nice little parting gift from the Cardinals. Go find your team.
Well, and that's the thing. So here's the argument against, because we've talked about this with Kelce or Mahomes' contract or any of these other deals is, like Orlando Brown Jr., it was clearly always about the money. He made it very clear it was about the money. There was no mystery about it. And at previous stops, DeAndre Hopkins has made it about the money. That's what got him out of Houston, remember? He wanted more money, and Arizona would give him more money, so he went to Arizona for more money. So I know I don't have much of a leg to stand on and be like, don't make it about money this time. I'm assuming that you can't be 50% of whatever the other value on the deal is for him. But the other part is, I don't understand this notion that people are afraid of a multi-year deal with him. I'd give him multiple years because I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is falling off a cliff. Do you realize how productive he was when he played last year? I mean, he was on pace to be a 1,400-yard receiver based on his numbers.
When you cross over 30, man, it's all on the table with these players, man. You never know.
Wide receiver, though? At his level of wide receiver?
You fall off the cliff so fast.
But he didn't hit the cliff last year. It was incredible.
Except for quarterbacks. Quarterback's the only position you see take off. Like Steve Young, like most of his passing yards did come after the age of 30. Yeah, the quarterback happens. But how many players, when you legitimately look at the NFL, and we're all about legacy and rings rather than the cash? Only select few of the really good ones. I believe Tom was that way. I believe Patrick's that way. I believe to some extent Peyton was that way. We want to defer money, whatever we can, to win rings. Like, there's a few guys that legacy means everything. The winning rings means everything. And
they haven't had two here, which helps.
And luckily, the Chiefs have a quarterback that feels that way. Yeah, handsomely paid, but he's got that drive.
I think Kelce lands in that category, too.
How many guys, like skill position players that are over 30 years old, are just like, I need a ring to define who and what my career is. No, they want the money.
But there are
They can say the right things, but he wants the money.
Yeah, but there are still the guys who want the ring, and I don't know, unfortunately, whether or not DeAndre is that guy. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk to Royals general manager J.J. Picollo as the Royals off, not today. They finish up their series against the Cardinals today. They're off tomorrow and Thursday. 2 days off in a row for our guy, Vern.
How about that?
What a treat. What a treat the new schedule is for people who cover baseball.
Are you still going to have Vern on, or are you going to give him a day off?
That's a tough call. Nick, what do you think? Do we just give Vern the day off? 2 days off in a row. Do we really bother him for that? Do you know how precious that is?
It's not day game after night game.
I don't think it's precious because it's so rare that it's almost he wouldn't know what to do with that extra day off.
Mo.
But wouldn't he just do that on the first day off? And technically, yesterday, Memorial Day, so.
He had to work yesterday.
Yeah,
but.
There was a game yesterday. The rest of us were off. He still had to work.
He was almost talking about a perfect game.
Vern's one of those guys who wants to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, he does.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll ask him about that.
He gets life from being on the radio.
He's more about the legacy and rings than the cash.
Right, exactly.
His legacy is our Royals insider, Yesterday, Bink, we almost had a legacy moment. The Royals had 7 combined perfect innings. Combined, of course, is the operative word there, of a no-hitter perfect game. And honest to God, as a person who has openly mocked combined no-hitters as not being nearly as valuable as regular no-hitters, because they're not, I feel like I was ready to change my tune on the perfect game yesterday. If they actually completed that thing, there's never been a combined perfect game. It would have been one of so few, less than 30 perfect games in Major League Baseball history. I was just going to give it to them. I wasn't even going to care. I was just going to give it to him. 7 innings, perfect game. It's going to be the lead of our show today. We were going to talk about the Royals' perfect game with Josh Staumont starting and Mike Myers behind it. Myers behind it, right? Just absolutely cleaning up
against the Cardinals.
For the Royals against the Cardinals. That would have had to have been the moment. I would have had to give it to them. I'd have had to give them the perfect game, right?
Of doing any game, beat the Cardinals. But yes, it never happened in MLB history.
That's still not going to happen, unfortunately.
They just about did something that's never happened in the history of baseball.
I can't believe you guys
right
now.
We can't talk about near-perfect games?
I was so excited about it.
I want to be happy about something.
That's my point.
Give me something.
It wasn't a near-perfect game. Getting to within 6 outs isn't close enough for us to even be talking.
Oh, come on.
What's near?
Final inning.
You could smell it.
Final inning? Come on, man. The juice was there.
Awful. It's awful that you guys were even talking about this.
What would have made you
No,
guys
we didn't talk about it. We wouldn't jinx it. We talked about it afterwards.
All right, let's just start giving the Chiefs credit for every game that they almost win.
Did Alex jinx us?
I guess they did almost beat the Bengals in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago.
First,
they
did
almost
win
went to
this
the
game.
Super Bowl.
The Royals won this game.
They almost beat the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
No.
They didn't almost.
It
mean,
was
Patrick
not
Mahomes-
almost.
That'd be like
Guys,
that'd be
Patrick
like-
Mahomes almost has 4 Super Bowl rings, which is almost impressive.
No, we could talk more
Let's
about
just
the
start
one
giving
they
people
didn't
credit
go
for
to.
almosts.
I thought there was a good lesson in future pitching success of finding 30-year-old pitchers that failed in other organizations and seeing if they still have life.
He's DeAndre Hopkins' age.
Yeah, so I mean, think about the future that might still exist. You don't want to entertain near perfect games, huh? Would you have given it the same credit, just out of curiosity, as a regular perfect game? Combined? Does it matter to you?
I'm not even going to answer that question. It's not close enough for me to even entertain this discussion. They got
Do
to
you even
within
know what a
6
perfect
outs.
game is?
Yes, I know what a perfect game is. Mm-hmm. It's when the pitchers are perfect.
In
fact,
what-
Nick,
Nobody
in
gets
what
on base.
happens? This is like college.
Nobody gets a hit
Or,
on base.
there you go. You got to keep with the on-base one. That's the best way. Because a no-hitter is no one gets a hit. You
right.
can't. No one gets on base under any circumstance. No walk, no hit by pitch, nothing. There's been very few of them in Major League Baseball history. It would have been a very big deal if they were able to accomplish it.
Never happened. Ever. And baseball's been around a minute.
And now the Royals are 17-38, and someone on the text line earlier says that they could still win the division. So now who looks like a fool? You or that person? The person who thinks the Royals can still win the division, even though they're 20 games under 500.
Give us something. This kind of reminds me of like the Eric Hosmer hitting the home run in the
Yeah,
All-Star game.
this
That
is
gave
what
us
it
the
is.
moment, right?
Honestly, it's just looking for a bright side with this Royals organization. That's what it is. It's just looking for hope. Real, tangible hope. And if we're not going to get that, then, what are we?
Good things not meant to happen, though, because you watch it and you're like, oh, man,